going to finish this Tzadok and Dover Tzadok, which is Nageya, our Tomer Devorah, our two words in the Tomer Devorah. And what we explained until now is that the Iker, we understand we started off a couple of weeks ago with the Shechina is Lamala Me'asara and doesn't go Lamata Me'asara, the Gemara in Sukkah. But at the same time, the whole purpose of the world is for the Shechina to be able to attach to the world of Gashmias. Before the Chet of Adam Arisha, the Shechina was part of the world of Gashmias. It was only with the Chet of Adam Arisha that the Shechina flew away a little bit and separated from the world. So we have the world, Olam Haza, Olam Haba, we have this whole difference. And the whole purpose of the world as it continues to unfold, and in fact Mashiach and the Geula is to make the Tikkun Hashlemus. The Tikkun Hashlemus is to put the Shechina back into this world. That Shechina, let me just say this one little word that we never said, but it's so obvious and simple, that when that Shechina attaches back to the world, when the Geula is here, so that's called bracha. And bracha we learned here, and the same thing in Nefesh HaChaim, bracha is a lashon of brecha. It's fresh, it's new, brecha. It's a mayan hamiskaber. The world doesn't get old once that happens, and you can't really have bracha until there's it's not enlecha klimachzik bracha k'may hashalom. You can't have bracha unless there's shalom. So therefore, the Mashiach is the Sar HaShalom. It's impossible to have a situation of complete Shechina in this world without Shalom. This is the importance of it. It's not just we need to get along, but that's what keeps everything new and everything fresh. If everything is going to be like separated in this world, like it was when Hashem created it, without us putting it back together again, if we stay in the matzav of Havdalah without the Shalom, so then you don't have the Tikkun. Adam Arishan is Kodem Achet and Gan Eden. Everything was united. Everything was together. There was complete shalom between Shamayim and Va'aretz.
That's where you get Chiyat HaMesim.
Chiyat HaMesim, Tal Chiyat HaMesim, Tal Chiyat HaMesim. So what happens? What our mandate here is to bring Shechina back into this world and to take the Gashmias of the world and to infuse it with Ruchnius. That's and we explained that the emphasis that Malchus Beis David is miyuchad b'zeh. Like they have this koach of dedicating Gashmias for Ruchnius. This Malchus Beis David built a Beis Hamikdash. Shlomo Melech, even better than David, built a Beis Hamikdash, took all those Gashmias, unbelievable Gashmias, silver, gold, turned it into Ruchnius. That was the. It wasn't just like he made a building, beautiful building headquarters. It was much deeper than that. That the Shechina was shari in a place of Gashmius, just like on the Mishkan. Probably the mistake of the Egel is that that's what they were trying to accomplish. They were trying to accomplish to bring the Shechina Lamata Me'asar Tfachim. They went off the derech in that sense. But that's what they were missing, because when Moshe Rabbeinu left them, even temporarily, they were missing that Shechina. They were trying to get it back. You can understand even psychologically, just trying to get back that feeling again that of the Shechina when Moshe Rabbeinu was here. So their derech was to build an egel, the wrong derech. We explained that Hillel, who was from Malchus Beis David, so Hillel was the ace at doing this and getting the Ruchnius into the Gashmius and making it all one world, the world of, and that's why. Tzadok so profoundly explained that the Gemara tells us that when it came to Shabbos, Kavod Shabbos, there was Shammai and there was Hillel. So Shammai, every day he was collecting the Kavod Shabbos. Right? He found a beautiful piece of chicken for Shabbos. He said, this will be for Shabbos. He found a better one. He ate that one and said, the next one for Shabbos. Until he got the best of the week was for Shabbos. Hillel doesn't have that Maila. Hillel says, Midah Acheres Haisaba. He had a different Midah Yom Yom Ma'amaslanu. Okay, today Hashem gave me chicken, I'm going to eat this chicken. So it seems to be that Shammai was Machabed Shabbos much more than Hillel even came. because he was doing everything for Shabbos, and Hillel was doing everything for Monday or for Tuesday. So Tzadok explains profoundly that the reason for that is because Hillel was a tzaddik, and a tzaddik is the same as Shabbos. Tzaddik is Shabbos. Shabbos means that's a karasel of Shabbos oineg. Shabbos is the time that you take the whole bria that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, and the whole bria, I should say, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, and you infuse it with ruchnius. It becomes the oneg of Shabbos becomes the mitzvah of Shabbos. So it's counterintuitive that the oneg should be, like religious people stay away from oneg. Right?
Religious people.
Yeah, too much oneg. But you can't enjoy yourself. But no, Shabbos is all about oneg. The whole thing is about oneg. You like peanut butter, eat peanut butter on Shabbos. So Shabbos is the time where Gashmias and Ruchnas are coming in. That's Midas HaYesod. That's what Shabbos, until Shabbos HaMalka. The Chadoidi Likras Kala, Pnei Shabbos, the Kabbalah is the pshat is I'm being makabel into my day. I'm merging the Gashmias and the Ruchnias together. So that's what a tzaddik does all the time. A tzaddik doesn't have to wait till Shabbos. A tzaddik is all the time. That's what a tzaddik is doing. Why? Because tzaddik Yesod Olam. Tzaddik is Midas HaYesod. Tzaddik is the conduit between the higher spheres and Malchus. So what a tzaddik is doing, what Hillel was doing, was altogether infusing. This is what he was doing. He was infusing the Gashmias with Ruchnias. Shammai, he's the one who was Midah Acheres. He had the Midah Acheres. Shabbos is Shabbos. Shabbos, we have to do that the whole week. We don't do it. Shammai was feeling that the more we stay away from Gashmias, the better. For wherever he was coming from, he says he's not explaining this here, but you see, Shabbos is all about. Shammai is all about Gedarim and Hagbolos, and this is our Siyagim. It's all about keeping yourself safe distance away from Gashmias. Whereas Hillel had a different idea. We learned the Medrash Rabbah. The Medrash Rabbah says that Hillel after every shir would leave the base Medrash and eat breakfast and to go to the Merchatz. He was involved in his Gashmias. So it's deeper than saying what everybody says, well, it was L'Shem Shemayim, so he can learn better. No, it was a different thing. There was no chiluk to him between his Gashmias and his Ruchnias.
Is that why we say that they also don't do like Shammai, because the Yisrael Machus would have been done already?
It's done. It's done.
So
a chashiv, a person, tries to talk divrei Torah, and a tzaddik doesn't have to talk divrei Torah, because it's all divrei Torah. It's all the same thing.
He lives
Sichas chulin shel talmidei chachamim. Everything is Torah. Everything. It doesn't make any difference. Like, why aren't you talking Torah now? Why don't the Chavetz Chaim, who wrote Sfarim on Little Torah, was notorious for schmoozing and talking. You wouldn't think the Chavetz Chaim is a schmoozer. They used to sit around him for hours. But I never saw the Chavetz Chaim, obviously. But Dafka by Rebbe never schmoozed. There was no such mitzvahs. But I remember I stayed at it was an interesting thing. I stayed in the YU dormitory for 3 nights. Needed a place to stay. And there was a room there that Rav Soloveitchik stayed in. He lived in Boston, and he used to come for the week, and he used to stay at his own room. And I remember that maybe 10, 11 o'clock, so Rav Soloveitchik used to come out with a bathrobe, all relaxed. And he used to schmooze, like everybody used to come around him, but he used to schmooze. Like again, you don't think of him like the Gaon as the Lutfa Shemayim as the schmoozer. He used to schmooze, but the stories and the things that he used to tell, it was all, it was Kulei Torah. It was just, but not one word of Torah was in there. I have to remember those. I heard some of his shirim, and I heard this I remember, the bathrobe Torah. Just observations. There's an idiot of coming to a point where it's Kulei Torah. Where it's Kehillat Shivtei, and that's what Hillel was holding a whole week long. It wasn't just about Shabbos, where I'm eating gefilte fish and I'm saying to our Torah. It's too separate. It's too to compartmentalize. So it's all one thing. Torah, Zmiros, gefilte fish. It all works together.
Is that what Chassidus is all about, really?
Oh.
You don't want to get into that.
Yeah, like asking me that. It's Yiddishkeit, right?
Yeah.
It's really unadulterated Yiddishkeit, in my opinion. There was Yiddishkeit before it got contaminated by the Oivdei Avodah Zarah. Whereas the Greeks were pleasure without spirit, and so much of the reaction to that in the times of the Romans and the Christians was spirit without shunning the pleasure. It was a lot of that was a reaction to the Greeks. You have 10 wives, I'm not going to have any wives. It's what it was. And Yiddishkeit straight through was one thing, that there's no steer at all between Gashmis and Ruchnis. It all works very well together. Hashem made this, Hashem made that, and that's what it's supposed to be. And that was what Hillel was saying. Gets even deeper, and then we'll get to what we're going to learn now today. The deeper part of it is, he explains that Ein Chadash Tachas HaShemesh. So Ein Chadash Tachas HaShemesh means Hashem made a Bria. The Bria is Tachas HaShemesh. And it's all was there in the Bria, nothing is new. So, the usual way of understanding that is, so what else is new? Like Ein Chadash Tachas HaShemesh, everything else, everything's an alter Maisa, it's an old story, right? But it's much more than that. It's that Kozman, that there's a Bria, which is Tachas HaShemesh. It's there, it'll become stagnant, it'll become old, it'll become even putrid. The teva of everything that's Gashmis in this world is that it gets old and it rots. Everything from apples to people. This is just the teva of the world. Why? Because Ein Chadash Tachas HaShemesh. The reason why things get old, and like I was saying last week, Shalom Bayis can get old. Food can get old. How much too much of a good thing. You eat something. If you eat something the same geschmack. Chocolate pecan pie every single day, it loses its luster. And then probably even like coffee, you have to change flavors every once in a while. But that's kimat ruchnius. That's a different vice over here. But the reason why things, such an insight. The reason why things, even water, which has a very long-lasting ability, eventually will become stagnant. Like if you leave your ice cubes in the freezer for too long, they don't taste good. That there comes a point that even water becomes stale. So bread for sure becomes stale. Things become. So what's up with that? The answer is because there's no chidush. A pond of water will become stale. A mayan, or a brecha as he calls it, which is constantly renewing, will never become stale. It will never become stagnant because it's always the newness of it. Since we have Ein Chadash Tachas HaShemesh, so things would become old. So how do you stop things from becoming old? Moshe Rabbeinu, what's the lesson there? Right? He stayed young. What was the chap there? Chap is he was kulei ruchnius because Ein Chadash Tachas HaShemesh, but L'mala min HaShemesh, which is the world of the neshama, is new, and it's constantly new. And if I can bring that into my life here, so then it's constantly new, it's constantly fresh. So now my water goes from being a pond sitting in a dishpan to a brecha, which is constantly fresh and constantly new. So this is what I'll add. He doesn't say this, that you see the story of when Hillel became the Nasi. So until he became the Nasi, everything was Messiah. There was nothing but Messiah. Why did they forget the halachas? You once you break the rope, so where are you going to get Torah from? And that was the halach of Shammai, the derech of Shammai. It was good derech, right? Sinai. There's another madrega where Hillel came in, and he could be hadril pilpula. He was able to figure out. He's the one who started off the whole idea of Midosh Yatar and Nidrashas. First Hillel, then Rabbi Kiva, then Rabbi Shmuel. The Midosh Yatar and Nidrashas, meaning we can be Mechanish Torah. There's an Indian of Chidushay Torah. So Chidushay Torah takes even Torah, which is Ruchnis, but once it's Tachas HaShemesh, it will become old Torah. You see the Torah that's popular today, am I allowed to say this, is different than the Torah that was popular 100 years ago. and you look at the age of Pilpul or the age of the Gohinim. I mean, we refer to them and we look at them, but it's very hard. Like there's New Age Torah. This is good. This is good because as long as it's true Torah, that the Chidushim is what keeps Torah young, it keeps Torah beautiful. That, in every generation there's a sefer or two which sort of like hits the nail on the head. So, okay, this is the sefer for Hador. And the reason is because it becomes new. Tizal Katal
Lichi.
Yarov Kamoter Lichi. Tizal Katal Imrasi. Kisirim Ale Deshe. What does that mean, by the way? Yarov Kamoter Lichi. What does it mean, Chaim? Yarov?
Zeno.
Yeah, that's good. This is the part we don't know what it means. Let's try to translate for a second. Yarov Kamoter Lichi. What's Yarov? Chop a head off, something like that. Egla Rufa. Like it's an ISIS pasuk. Yarov Kamoter.
Usually translated as it will drip down.
Why Yarov? That's Tizal. Yarov Kamoter Lichi.
And what's Likhi?
Matter is
Torah. By Lekach.
Matter brings the dried out the seeds to life.
Right. It killed. The mutter has. The Ramban says this in the parsha. The mutter has a double function. Like if you water something that's dead, it becomes more dead. It gets floods and it gets out of the way. If you water something which is alive, so it makes it more alive.
Invigorates.
Right, and invigorates it. So it's an interesting Yarov Kamoter Lichi. So the Chazal say, I think it's Gemara in Tainus, where it says the Yarov Kamoter Lichi, that if you learn Torah Shaloi Lishma, so Nasalei Sam Hamaves. Namar Yarov Kamoter Lichi, it just chops off your head. If there's no chiyus here, so then while you're adding water to it, you're drowning the no chiyus, just making it soggy and more rotten. If it's alive, Torah Lishma, so then it's growing. Kisirim Ali Desha, what are Sirim? I just read this not so long ago. Sirim are storms. You're thinking goats, right? So, like a goat's hair, like Seir is covering the whole thing, so a storm that covers. Kisirim Ali Desha. Rashi's beautiful there. Rashi says that the whole world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gift wrap for us in green. Okay, look at the earth. The whole dry land is green, maybe the wet land too underneath, but for us, and it's covered like a blanket of green. And Kisirim Ali Desha, the Seirim comes and makes the green greener. So that whole pasuk, in fact, is all talking about the freshness. Moshe Rabbeinu is saying that I'm not just talking to you in my time. There's a freshness in Torah which is going to last forever, for all eternity. So what I'm giving you is Tizal Katal, Yarov Katal Imasi, Yarov Kamoter Imasi. It's Mater Tal. I don't remember the pasuk. Yarov Tal.
Katal. Likhi.
Likhi, Rashi says, is the Torah that we learn. The Lekach is not Nosan. It's not the Maton. It's not Matan Torah. It's Likhi. That which you take and that which you work over. So our Chidushim. It's all what keeps things fresh. So what we're doing here, to make a long story short, is we're taking that which is Lamala Min HaShemesh, and we're bringing it Tachas HaShemesh. Ein Chanosh Tachas HaShemesh. It's all going to rot. It's like Eliezer says, that's the pshat. It's Tal Tchias HaMesim. The Tal Tchias HaMesim, that even Vatchayena is Hatzom Yisrael, that it could, even that can stay new and can stay fresh. Okay, so now let's look inside. We're on page 53, the second column, after the brackets. All this that we're talking about is Rak Ayidei Madregas Drush, is when you take a limud and you darshan it out. You learn chidushim in it. You understand it deeper, you extrapolate, you expand it, you give it life. In the Gemara, you find 2-3 times where the Gedolim or Rabbi Kiva said to Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus that, like, when we're near you, we're feeling life. There's a certain Chaim that we're feeling, certain Sinor of Chaim. He was bringing something to them from Lamala min Hashemesh to Tachas Hashemesh. I can't separate from this. Separate from this the world. The world is like so exciting and so full of taivas and geshmaka things. All become sick. Ad kadei suicide. when you can't get Yishlei Mana Ratzim Messiah, just look at where do I find life? And at the end, it could be very nice. It could be very geshmak, but at the end, it's not. Doesn't have any life to it. Doesn't have any longevity to it. It's not chayim. So he says here, a person learns in his machadish every day, you're turning your pond into a mayan, refreshing the water. Machlif. It's actually like even, I mean, I just thinking about it, I'm fascinated with the concept. Like even air, you can't keep on breathing the same air. Look at the problem with like airplanes is that they're machlif the air every 40 seconds, I think. Sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot when you're not on airplanes every second. So the pilot they change his air every 3 seconds because they know it can't function. Everybody else could function. The pilot can.
You're only watching a movie.
If you travel business class, you're breathing the pilot's air. You are. It's in other words, the way the planes are designed, just simply better air. But it's. I'm also a travel agent. But it's everything. Nothing can become. Nothing in this world. It's like air. It's not even fluid. It's air. It has to be new. It has to be fresh air. You need fresh air. You're refreshing by drush and Torah. You're refreshing. You're renewing your machlif avir. I don't know what does that Rosh Hashanah stand for? Zayin Shin Shin. I was looking at this morning. I think it's Zayin Shin Shin. Be'ereven.
Is it Moshe?
Where do you say Mem?
וזה שנכתב שם? וזה שנכתב שם?
You're supposed to make Rosh Hashanah out of words that everybody knows. Right. Get to Rosh Hashanah. Something like that. Be'ereven shekolzman shehoiga, as long as you're learning Torah, moitzi tam. L'kach ziknei amaretz daita mitapeshes. The secret to senility. We're not talking about now a medical case of dementia, a different story, but like people become foolish in their old age because there's nothing. You're not being machadish your brain cells. There's no chiddush there. Just like the old stuff over and over and over again. So it becomes tippish. Tippish is an interesting. The tapeshes. It's a Mishnah. Ratzleimer had das ba'avodas Hashem. Ba'av sheyesh lo das. A zaken has das. Rak she'eino chassid. Okay, he's not a chassid. Lo yamar it's chassid. But gam he miskal kelas le'zikna kechola inyanim shetachas Hashem. It's the problem with the das of the Amoritz. It's his das is tachas Hashemesh instead of being lamala min Hashemesh. Shem salkim beziknas k'ma shekazav parak hashoyel. Ulefi shegam he etzlam yesh la gvul ve'enam b'madregas mayan. He has his das. We're not talking about a person who doesn't have his das. He just becomes foolish because he has his das, but his das is mitapeshes. It doesn't have madregas mayan v'hanaycha gemura b'maisim she'anoichan loy le'olam and loy nizdakno. That's like. I think the Rabbad says, by the way, interesting that the lechem aponim, the nest of the lechem aponim has stayed fresh all week. And the message of that nest to Klal Yisrael was that if something has the Shechina Shari in it, like does the Mishkan, so then it doesn't get stale. Like bread is the first thing, it's not good even after it's out for an hour. It's to stay fresh all week because it doesn't have the message of the menorah is one message. The message of the Lechem Apanim is freshness. Tari. Life can stay tari if it's life with the Shechina. Zehu rak al-yidei hatipa chadasha sheyaroith b'chol yom. V'zehu, and that's the pshat in the pasuk, yaroith kamoter lichi kervivim alei deshek. U'kumaysha shamati, as Rav Tzadok, I once heard, I mentioned before that whenever he says shamati, he means shamati from the Izbitcher. This is Rabbi. Kamasha Shamati Gam Ken al Pasuk Geshem Nidvois Tanef Elakim Nachlasecha V'nila Ato Kenanta. Let's also look at the Pasuk. Is it till here? Anyone see a simple tillim? Tillim Samach. Hard Psugim and Tillim. Tillim Samaches. Amnatzeach David Mizmar Shir. Yakum Elakim Yafutzo Evav Yanusim Esana Mipanav. Just in general, what he speaks about here is, Shir Ulay Shir Chadash. But what he speaks about over here is David HaMelech speaks about the fact that how as many people have tried to destroy Klal Yisrael, both Begashmius and Baruchnius, never seems to work. Never seems to be successful myself. We always seem to be able to come out. Why? Because Tzadok is going to explain. But the pshat is that if you have something which is there, it's a metzius, it's stagnant, so you destroy it. But if you have something which is constantly growing chadash, like a mayan, so what are you going to destroy? Let's say you have, you drain out a wellspring. So you drain all, there's no water there. Okay, we got it. You come back a year later, it's full again. Frustrating. And that's the frustration of the goyim of trying to destroy Klal Yisrael, because it's, as long as it's a mayan. And it's not just a pool of water. Those pools of water dry up. So he explains this concept, and he says here, the pasuk here. Eretz Rasha, the earth trembles. Av Shamayim Notfu, and the Shamayim drips. Mipnei Elokim Zes Sinai, Mipnei Elokim Elokei Yisrael. The earth trembles, meaning the earth is alive. It's not just stagnant. It's not just there. The earth moves, and the heaven gives forth. Not Av Shamayim Notfu. This is the understanding of Sinai, of Torah. The pshat in Torah is that it's a constant. Then this is the pasuk he's referring to. Geshem nedavais tanif Elohim, nachlos chavanila ato kainanta. Geshem nedavais tanif Elohim. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always pouring new Geshem. Tanif Elohim. What does tanif mean? Wave. It's a wave. So what's the issue of waving? You see where you go like this, like what are you doing? Fresh air. Moving away the old air and letting new air come in, right? That's the ancient air conditioning. So the symbolism of a carbon doing a snufa on a carbon, or a wave offering, is that you're machadesh. You're bringing in here The Gemara says that Yabarachik Ruach Ra, Rachik Talale Ra, even when you do Nanuyim with a lulav, you're pushing away all the bad and you're making room for new. Right? Take away the Yashan, Chadash Taviyah. That's what a Tznufa is. So the freshness is this is what David HaMelech is explaining. Geshem Nedavais Tanif Elokim. The way you keep the world from just expiring is by keeping it fresh all the time with new water and new waving, new wind. In other words, everyone knows that the wind, without wind we would all die, right? The wind has to constantly be changing. So that's the tanif. So it says here from the Izbicher, K'maisha shamati gamkein al pasuk geshem nidvais talif elikim nachloscha v'nila ata kainata. You have made the earth strong. Sheyesh la Hashem yisparach geshem nidavais. Hashem has a certain kind of a rain called geshem nidavais. Shemativ tipais chadashais. Behem dugmas tznufa moilech umevi mali umayrid. Latza ruach rois utlalim raim. It's almost like nanuyim, because the rain the rain goes in a rain cycle, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu adds new rain into the cycles. Not all the old rain. There's geshem v'davos. That's what David HaMelech is saying. There's new rain added into it, so there's always something fresh. It's not just the same stuff going up. Eventually, even acid rain will heal itself, and the reason it heals itself because there's always a new mixture of geshem v'davos that Hashem puts. And that's how the world stays. Otherwise, we just rot ourselves because we're just evaporating bad and it's coming down bad, evaporating. Like we're just making it worse and worse. So why do the forests still grow? It's a pellet to the scientists, right? It's going to stop sooner or later. It's got to stop. Global warming, and it won't stop. The reason it won't stop is because it might be different. Different is good. Different is chadash. So ein chadash tachas hashemesh. Something becomes extinct. It becomes extinct. Who cares? Why is this a problem? The ecosystem changes. But what the world will continue to exist because of the geshem nedavos, this chiddush. So the Izbicher said, and that's what you think about when you do your nanuyim with the lulav or with the korban. Dugmas tznufa, moilech, umevi, mala, umayrid, latza ruchais rois, get rid of the ruach ra, utzlalim raim hanashavim belev ha'adam, that are inside your heart. You have to renew that also. Right? Can you imagine just what's in your heart just stays in your heart? You need to be pumping all the time. And then you never get tired of anything. It's always a chiddush. See, it's the truth. Tell me if you agree with me. Like a person who suffers like a midlife crisis, to a large extent, it needs an infusion of ruchnius, not just therapy. But it's a midlife crisis, like, you work for 40, 50 years to, accomplish that. I got to have a house, I have to get my car, I got to do this, my that, my wife. You get everything in order, your business is in order, everything's in order. And okay, now what? So now what? Now you use it, but it's life becomes very, I've spoken to enough people, this is a very real phenomenon. People say, okay, I'll take this bracha. But it's not such a bracha, it's a hellish experience. When there's no place left where you're supposed to go. So if you're into ruchnius, okay, now I'm going to finish Shas. Now I'm going to finish it. You keep on growing, but it doesn't even have to. I mean, that's for sure good. But even without that, the lack of infusion is the lack of chiddush Shabbat. So there has to be a chiddush. Try to do something, And so the psychologists come up with almost there but moronic answers because well, if you walk every day this way, start walking that way, so you'll see some kind of a chiddush. There's seeing a real change.
Some people think if they move to a new place,
or move to Florida.
Yeah.
There's all kind of change businesses. Quit your $500,000 your job and take a startup making pineapple juice. Like it's a pellet how people are looking for Chiddush. The Amish looking for Chiddush all the time. And it'll work for a year or two. It'll also work, but then that becomes the Mishesh Langman Haratzim Messiah. So the whole chap over here of Yiddishkeit, listen to the secret that we're being taught over here, is that it's not going to work because Ein Chodesh Tachas HaShemesh. It will get old. It will get old, and it's oisgespielt. What can work is to grab something from Lamala Min HaShemesh, the Geshem, the Davos, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives, and grab that. So that's putting, and what it really means. What does it mean? I don't think it just means like, okay, start Daf Yomi. I think that can get old too even. But Droish, like to learn with Chiddush, and to be mechadish in your life, new talents that I have, new kochos that I have, things that I could do now that I wasn't able to do before. It's Ben Arboim Labina. You become Ben Arboim. All of a sudden, like there's she'ifas of chachma that come. You could give people advice. People give people advice when they're 30 are making, usually giving bad advice. When you're 40, 50, you look at the Pirkei Avos, there's a certain chiddush to every year, every decade, what you could do. Even marriage, which gets tired and old by the time you're 60, 70 years old, Tzadikim report this is the best years of their life. The closest relationship with their wife. Tzadikim said this. Never had such a close relationship with their wife. You think why? All the criteria for closeness are not there any longer because it's all chiddush. It's all chiddush. You start appreciating things you never even saw before. You were there before. You see things differently. It's foods start to have tastes you never knew existed. But if you're willing to extend yourself to try new, then you can bring the Shechina into this world. So I can't think of anything more important than this as a tool for life. So to finish the paragraph, Hu Madregas Yom HaShabbos. This is the Madrega of Yom HaShabbos. Hu Madregas HaTzadik Shekol Yom of Shabbos HaMishalech HaZelikim B'Chavrosai Tamid. Right, Ruach Elikim Mishalech B'Toichana. Fresh, it was fresh. So it's so nice if you go up to a mountaintop and it's fresh. It's all just fresh. That was Gan Eden. Ruach Elikim Mishalech Toichagan. Toichagan. Mishalech walks with you. Ki halicha lashon hischabros tmidi. Halicha, ubelechta bavaderech. It's very close to me. Ki inyan hahoylech es chachamim yichakim. Like halacha. It's the taitcha of the word halacha. Is very intimately involved with this chiddush. Lakach zaken urak zeh shekana chachma. A real zaken is ein zaken ela mi shekana chachma. Kana chachma, constantly increasing my chachma level. So you got to ask ourselves at this point. Even people who are learning Torah, like, what's next? Like, what's the next chachma that I can get? And you see the real mishtoikakim. Shaz nase kemayon, v'achachma mizdakenes, v'yamim yirbu v'lo yismatu. I always tell the story. It's good to tell again just before we leave the sugya. Just this was the last words of the sugya. I always tell the story when I went to see Rav Shach, Olav Shalom. So what happened? I had much of a kasher with Rav Shach. Shach was a B'nai Brak, Rosh Yeshiva Panovich, but I was offered a job to be the head of the whole ruchnius of the OU. The OU is not just kashrus in America. The OU is the umbrella organization for all the Orthodox shuls in America. 1800 shuls. Kashrus was a mela. The whole NCSY. It was a big offering. It was a very chashuv thing. You could do a lot nationally, even internationally. So the only problem was it was maybe like more modern Orthodox than I was. Like I'm not a modern Orthodox, but the OU is, OU, YU. It's like that's a different world. Nothing against it. It just it wasn't sort of the world that I was trained in. So I didn't know like if it was the right thing to do or not the right thing to do. I remember I called a friend of mine who was one of the heads of Aguda, and I said to him, "What do you think about this job. So he said, look, it's a tremendous opportunity to accomplish, and you can do a lot for the world. It's a wonderful platform on which to stand. But don't expect me to ever ask you to speak at the Aguda convention. It's like a different world, you know. So like, it was a big decision. So actually, I flew to Eretz Yisrael to speak to Rav Scheinberg, ask him what he thought. So this trip, it was actually like it was supposed to come up Monday and leave on Tuesday night. That was the trip. It was for the sake of one conversation. So I finally get there, and I get to Rav Scheinberg, explain to him the whole situation, and he says, I have no idea. So I said, what do you mean? I came all the way here just to... So he said, I don't know. I said, I don't know anything about, like, you know, modern Orthodox, and this is all politics. Like, that's something he doesn't really know. Like they keep halacha, they keep, like, it was... So I said, well, what, you know, what am I supposed to do? Like, if you don't know, who knows? Like, what's this? So he said, go speak to Rav Shach. He understands politics. That's what he told me. So, no, so he's more up on what's going on in the world. So I said, okay, how do I do that? So he actually picked up the phone, and he called the Gabbai of Rav Shach. Rav Shach was then probably, 97, 98. Rav Shiva was a young 88. So I'm dealing here with Shechina, you know. So I remember I went to Rav Shach, was there, and the Gabbai was expecting. I got a lot of, I got a good, because Rav Scheinberg called. Yeah, it was good. So I went in there. Rav Shach is there, and for the tax I took what they call a sherut, you know. So I had a sefer in my hand. So I walk in, Shalom Aleichem, Rav Shiva. So he said to me, first thing he says, what's that? First he looked at me like very, well, and, like try to size up the situation here. You know? So he says, what's in your hand? What sefer is that? He said to me. It was very nice, but very warm, very, what's that in your hand? So I says, it was Tzidkus HaTzadik, Reb Tzadok, happened to be. So he said, Reb Tzadok Hakohen? He says, so I said, yes. So he says, and what are you learning? What does he say? So this was became a faher, you know. So I sent over the paragraph that I was learning in the Monit at the time, going to Bnei Brak, and I got maybe a minute into it. He told me to stop talking. Stop talking. So okay, so I'm talking. He says it's very beautiful. He says, but I wasn't raised, or I didn't learn, and that it wasn't makabel from my rebbes, this type of Torah, and it's new. And he literally started crying. I was so moved by it. He says, I don't have koyach for something new. I so much want something new, but I can't open my head. That's what he said. I can't open my head to something new any longer. It was Rabbi Haber, Chaim Brisker, Monsey, whatever it was a Rav Tzadok, you know. He was so upset that as soon as he heard newness, it's not something that he can. And he was careful to say about, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying I can't hear it. It was giving him too much agmus nefesh, as he put it.
What was his advice?
So I sat down, and it was very nice. He was like, he held my hand, and he said, I felt like anyways, and I told him the whole story. And just as I was about to finish my whole story, which took about 2 minutes, he was sound asleep. Sound asleep. I mean, he was holding my hand, and he was sound asleep. I felt for a minute like I didn't know what to do. Really, what was I supposed to do? Like, wake him up? I wasn't sure what to do. So so it was Reb Tzadok in my left hand and Rav Shach in my right hand, and the Gabbai, that same Gabbai, walked by, and I'm like, what should I do? So he told me, just wait, He said there. So I sat there for about 5 minutes. I was going over in my mind, just tell you that what we say in the Elah, Hanoisin Yad La Poshin. That's what was in my head. Hanoisin Yad La. Like I felt like some kind of a kesher. It was a man who sat with Reb Chaim Ozer and with Reb Chaim Brisker and with I just like connected to to a whole different place that I never felt before. But anyways, let's go again, and it was pretty good shvach. It would have been kind of to fly, just for this experience, but I still don't know what to do. And then he wakes up, and he looks at me, and he says, "Take the job." It's like that. He says, "You're mustastan, you have to do it." He says, "You'll be carve a lot of people, and you'll make a big difference in the whole." So take the job. So my story, but the story I mean to say is the story of Chiddush. It's the story of Chiddush that his biggest grief in the world is that how do I water this plant some more? How could I come saying 100 years old? Not. It was aggravating to him. Agav, just to say, I'm sure if he would have read the paragraph of Tzadok, he would have gotten a lot better than I did. It's not like I had anything over Shach, but if he about drink us, he wasn't holding it in the same moment. It was on.
This paragraph.